Hey everybody, Tim here with a Star Trek video. It's been quite a while, super excited to do one. It is the short treks again. So last year there were 4 short treks, this year there's 6, so I'm gonna just kind of jump into it pretty quick. Last year, out of the 4, 2 of them went directly into the series, the one that introduced Poe and Saru's sister. These, I don't really think any of them are going to play a big impact on the series. In fact, most of them are actually about the Enterprise crew, and with Discovery being 900 years in the future, I don't foresee a big impact, but they're still kind of enjoyable, some more than others, so we'll just kind of talk about it. The first one being Q&A. Actually, I didn't like it. This one started on the low point. It's all about Ensign Spock beaming to the Enterprise for the first time, and him and number 1 are trapped in a turbo lift, and the title, it's just a whole bunch of questions, and to me, I just got bored pretty quick. What food synthesizer do we use? What program do we use? What's the most amazing nebula you've seen? What's your first name? What do you think of Pike? And all of these questions. And then, finally, the one that actually kind of got to me was, do you like eggplant? And I don't know, maybe it's because, this came out in 2019, it's 2020, whatever. Right now, we're all about emojis and double meanings and stuff like that. But I was like, did he just ask her if she likes dick? Because it completely caught me off guard. But I was like, okay, whatever, moving on. And then at the very end, when number 1 just breaks into song, singing, "I am the very model of a modern major general." And I was like, that's very awkward. I don't know if I just missed a step or something, but when they break into song, I was like, that's just awkward. So yeah, overall, this one was kind of on the weaker side for me. The second one, Trouble with Edward, I loved. Captain LaRusso, I think was her name, brand new captain, brand new ship, and she starts having difficulty with one of her people, namely Edward Larkin. Hence the title, Trouble with Edward. Played by the amazing H. John Benjamin, who I know him mostly from the voice of Archer. I've never seen Bob's Burgers, but he's the main character in that as well. And he's just super awkward and just them talking about tribbles. The one thing I didn't like about this, it was super funny and it was really amazing. The one thing I didn't like is it kind of retcons tribbles a little bit, where Enterprise, which takes place before all of this, has already said, tribbles breed really fast and they're a huge, source of protein and, all of these aliens eat them. Whereas this one, they're oh, they breed really slowly, and he wants to make them brain dead so that way it's not ethical or unethical to eat them, and he wants to genetically alter them so they breed quicker, and just all sorts of stuff like that. It was really funny. The whole, this conversation is over situation is great. And then, I don't know, as somebody who's worked retail, it's kind of interesting to see, conversations like these and meeting people like this worker. And so finally, by the time we get to the end and she's under the tribunal and they're under less than 2 weeks, you've destroyed a ship and you've had a crew member die. What's going on? And she's just he was an idiot. It is what it is. I'm sorry. But it was a really funny one. That one entertained me. And then this is, I think, the only one that has ever had a post-credit scene with the Tribble cereal commercial. So stuff like that I thought was really entertaining. After this is the Ask Not. Pretty flat, pretty straightforward. A person, is basically, a starbase is under attack, and this woman is supposed to guard the mutineer, which is Captain Pike. You get to he keeps I order you to let me go, and she doesn't do it. You get to the end, and it was a simulation because she applied to the Enterprise. They denied her, set up the simulation to see if she'd pass, and then they accepted her. I don't know. It was interesting. It was very Kobayashi Maru type situation, except for there is a pass for this one. But I don't know. It didn't wow me. The next one, The Girl Who Made the Stars, the first animated Star Trek feature since the TV show back in the 70s. It was okay. This one's all about the mythical story, why are there stars? It's all about a young Michael being scared, and then her father telling her this bedtime story, which is about a little girl, and there's no stars, and they're the first people, so she has to brave the night monster, which is this giant snake. She meets an alien, the alien gives her stars, and she finds hope. It's an interesting story. I love the animation style. The whole CGI thing looked great. But overall, again, it didn't wow me, in the way that they were probably hoping it would. That being said, the next animated one that came out the same day, Ephraim and Dot, I loved. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It reminded me a lot of like WALL-E, but it also kind of had that like infomercial type, like watching this in a workplace type video, almost like in Jurassic Park with Mr. DNA, like stuff like that. Like, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was really entertaining and it had a ton of shout outs to the Enterprise. So, I mean, clearly this takes place like much later on, where we see like, oh, I forgot to write it down, the vampire plant alien. We see the tardigrade, and the whole premise is this tardigrade's trying to find its eggs. We see clips of Kirk and Khan, which are from Space Seed, and this robot basically finds the tardigrade and is trying to get rid of it. And I know a lot of people have complained about this, where it's like, oh, they're like just ripping stuff off, and like the whole deflector dish wouldn't have let the tardigrade get close, and this droid wouldn't have like tried to kill the tardigrade. Dude, it's a short video. It's supposed to be cute and funny, and to me, it succeeded. It did a great job. Like I said, it was very WALL-E-like. Like, no, get this alien off the ship. It does make its way into engineering, lays a bunch of eggs, and the premise is the tardigrade keeps trying to get to its eggs, but in the background, you see a ton of stuff, and it's clearly not even like chronological order. So again, people are just complaining to complain, because we see the Tribbles, we see Sulu from like Naked Time, where he's like trying to sword fight, we see the Tholian web, we see, oh god, what do we see? We see like the Lincoln sitting in space, which is from the Savage Curtain, the last episode. We see the Green Hand from Adonis, we see Klingons, we see the Defiant. So I mean, it goes all the way up to like the Wrath of Khan, and eventually we do see the Enterprise like get destroyed. So it goes all the way to like Star Trek 3. And I don't know, I think it did a great job. And finally at the end, the robot like opens itself up and it saved the baby tardigrade. So I thought it was a really cute story. I really enjoyed it. Like, I took it for what it was. It's just a little cartoon infomercial. Finally, the last short trek, the one that came out today that I've been holding off all of these reviews for this one, Children of Mars. I don't know, like, after how great Ephraim and Dot was, Children of Mars was a little disappointing. Heroes playing in the background, which is a cover version, but still, it's kind of great. And it's all just about these two, probably high school, maybe junior high girls. I don't know ages that well. And like the mom is an engineer, the dad is like a quality inspector, so you can kind of tell one's a little better off than the other one. But like they go to school, one of them makes the other miss the bus, then like, and you can kind of see happy first contact day, so you know that it's going to be April 3rd, I believe, is first contact day. So that's kind of cool. And then just them fighting over and over again. And they both basically go to detention. And then there's a like cataclysmic destruction, presumably like where both of their parents are working is just blown up. And so their parents presumably are dead. And like they basically find comfort in each other. The interesting thing is in the background, you see Admiral Picard. So this is presumably kind of a setup for us going into the Picard show 2 weeks from now, which is kind of interesting that this is more of Picard than it is Discovery. But still, I thought it was a really interesting kind of story. It's 8 minutes of two girls fighting. So it was very difficult to like really get any sort of attachment. But it'll be interesting to see if either of these two girls are in Picard. So, for those who have seen these 6 episodes of the short treks, what did you think about them? Like, do you like the short treks? Do you just think they're annoying? Do you even watch them? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything. And as far as Star Trek goes, I will see you guys in 2 weeks for the season 1 premiere of Picard.